I am 76 years old. 10 months ago, I lost my sister Caroline. We shared the same parents, the same childhood home, and then 50 years of silence. People tell you that family is complicated, but they don't tell you about the specific, hollow space that a long-held grudge leaves behind. It isn't just an empty chair at the table. It is the weight of every word you could have said, every letter you could have opened when there was still time. I'm telling you this now because I have realized that for 5 decades, I nursed a story of our fight that was airtight, perfectly righteous, and utterly poisonous. I was right, and I was so terribly wrong. I look at the last birthday card she sent me, still unopened in a drawer, and it feels like a monument to my own stubbornness. There are photos from our childhood where we are inseparable, and I realize I let a single chapter erase the entire book. Now I sit here and realize that being the one who was wronged is a cold, lonely victory. But I didn't know that then. I was too busy being right. We were Irish twins, barely a year apart. A fiery pair with matching tempers. We did what strong-willed girls do. We dreamed big. We clashed. We moved to the same city and then 2 opposite coasts. Our lives were built on the idea of boundaries. When she apologizes, I'll forgive her. When I'm less hurt, I'll reach out. When we're older and wiser, we'll laugh about it. In my 30s and 40s, I was a fortress of principle. I took pride in it. I thought that protecting myself meant never bending, never showing the crack in my armor. Caroline would send a Christmas card every year, a tiny olive branch. I'd see her handwriting and my stomach would knot. I'd think, she hasn't said the right thing yet. And I'd toss it aside. I was so busy guarding the story of our Fight My Story that I never considered hers. I thought strength was in holding the line. I didn't realize my strength had built a prison. There was a decade there, maybe 20 years, where we lived like 2 countries with a closed border. The customs were cold. The policy was silence, and pride is the enemy of peace. I remember her calling me once, around our mother's 70th birthday. I saw her name on the caller ID. I thought, she's calling to stir up old drama. I let it go to voicemail. She just said, "Hi Joe. Thinking of you. Mom would love to hear from you." I thought I was being strong. I thought I was holding my ground. The cost of that ground is that you stand on it, utterly alone. The distance didn't happen in one explosion. It was the 1,000 tiny choices to prioritize my bruised ego over our shared history. It was the way I'd change the subject when our mother mentioned her, the way I'd refer to her as my sister, but never by her name. We assumed the bond of blood was unbreakable, so we stopped tending to it. We focused on being independent adults instead. Then came the diagnosis. It was swift. She was 75. I had the flexibility. I had the means to visit. But by then, we had forgotten how to speak without a script written 50 years prior. We had a lifetime of habit between us, and the habit was silence. I flew to her city. I walked into her hospital room, and I saw a frail stranger with my sister's eyes. I spent half the time talking about the weather and the hospital food, and the other half choking on all the unsaid things. Caroline was tired. The treatments were brutal. I found myself wanting to argue, to finally have it out, just to hear the familiar fire in her voice. I wish I could go back and shake myself for that. I wish I could tell that woman to just drop the script and say the only 3 words that mattered. I miss you. The end wasn't a dramatic reconciliation. It was a Wednesday afternoon. She was drowsy from medication. She looked at me and said, "Do you remember that tree house Dad built?" Within 48 hours, she was gone. The clarity that comes in the sterile light of a hospice room is a brutal gift. It's like finally cleaning a window you've been looking through your whole life, only to see the garden on the other side is withered. I held her hand, the same hand I used to hold crossing the street, and I realized I didn't know her favorite flower anymore. I knew she was a Republican. I knew she voted for Reagan. I knew she hated cilantro, but I hadn't asked her what brought her joy in 30 years. I had been so busy curating my grievance that I had let my sister become a caricature. She died on a Sunday. I came home to an empty house full of the moral high ground, just the way I had defended it. And I despised it. I despised every unyielding principle and every well-rehearsed reason, because they were the things I had chosen instead of her. I had traded a living, breathing sister for a dead, perfect argument. I had traded inside jokes and shared memories for the solitary satisfaction of being right. Now I am 76 and I have all the quiet in the world. That is the great tragedy of a long-held grudge. You finally get the peace you fought so hard to protect, but it's the peace of a cemetery. I walk through my memories and I see the ghost of the friendship we could have had if I had just been a little less righteous and a little more kind. I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty. I'm telling you because I see you. I see the families with their group texts left unread, the siblings who only speak through their parents. You think you are protecting your heart, and you are, but be careful not to protect it so completely that it becomes a stone. What I wish I had known is that the person you refighting with is more important than the thing you refighting about. The way they tell that story wrong, the way they always bring up politics. These things feel like betrayals when you think your point is the most important thing. When they are gone, you would give anything to hear their version one more time. Don't wait for the perfect apology to offer forgiveness. Don't wait for the holidays to make the call. The argument will fade. Who was right or wrong won't matter, but the person connected to you by history is a fleeting treasure. We are all just stories in each other's lives. Don't let your story be about an absence. I spent 50 years nurturing a wound because it was mine. I spent my life waiting for a resolution that never truly came the way I demanded it. If I could do it over, I would have opened every card. I would have answered every call. I would have listened to her tell that story wrong and just smiled at the sound of her voice. I don't have much time left myself. My body doesn't lie, and the aches are deeper now. I'm not afraid. In a way, I'm looking forward to seeing her. I just hope that wherever she is, there are no sides to take and no points to score. I hope I can just sit with her. And finally, for the first time in half a century, say, "Tell me about your life." If this means anything to you, maybe today, don't worry about who started it. Just pick up the phone, look at that name you've been avoiding, truly see it. Talk about nothing until you remember why you loved them in the first place. You think you're surrendering, but believe me, you're finally free.